So let's get going. We're just after 11 o'clock. So thank you to everybody that's joining us this week. Because we've had lots of people stopping by. What I've been doing is I've been asking everybody to just come and say hello on the chat box if possible. So just drop us a line. Please say hello, and if you could let us know where you're tuning in from. We've had some people coming in kind of far and wide. So come and say hello, introduce yourself, and just let us know where you're tuning in from. So today we welcome Aimee, who is here to kind of help us wrap up the week for Mental Health Awareness Week. Aimee has been a career EA, and she runs a great initiative called the Mindful EA, and she does a lot of public speaking. She does a lot of mentoring. So she's very active in the community, and has lots of great tips and help to kind of get us through some bits and pieces whilst we're shining the spotlight on Mental Health Awareness Week. So, as always, nobody's here to kind of hear from me. It's all about you, Aimee. So I'm gonna pass the reins over to you. If you need me to kind of chip in or anything, please let me know. And yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you, Aimee.
Ah, thanks so much. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for everything you've done this week. I think pulling this together, bringing people together and raising awareness of mental health is so important. And so yeah, thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity to speak to everyone. I think it's really fantastic. And thanks to everybody for coming along. 49 people, amazing. So I am here to talk about how to thrive and not survive in life, just plodding along. And I've got some slides that I'm going to take you through today, and I'll keep checking into the chat box, and there'll be an opportunity to ask some questions at the end, which I will happily answer. So host, I think you need to transfer the hosting over to me so I can screen share, if that's all right, Paul.
Yeah, yeah. I tried. I opened it up last night, actually. Is it not working for you?
No, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Helpful. Okay, just bear with me 1 second.
If you need me to just get my slides up and I've just taught, I'm happy to wing it. It's absolutely fine.
Okay, so I've made you a co-host, so that should try that now. That should work.
It does indeed. Right, let me just I said this before, I don't know if anybody else does screen sharing, but it always picks up, you know, if you've got tabs open, it picks up every other screen but the one you actually want to share. So let me just get this up, then we are good to go. Right, bro. Okay, so yeah, as I said, I'm here to talk about how to thrive instead of survive. Paul gave a brief introduction, but just so you can get a little bit of background on who I am. So I've been an executive assistant for over 15 years. Predominantly my career has been in retail. So these are a couple of pictures from when I worked at Next head office, and I currently still work for the Works, although I'm furloughed and leaving my full-time job imminently, which my CEO knows about, so that's fine. I can share that information. So that was me at Stock Exchange, and yeah, I absolutely love being an assistant. I'm a massive support of business supports and admin and office managers and all the fantastic things that I think that industry and that profession do. Whilst I was in my role, I think I'm that classic A-type personality that has got ridiculously high self-expectations, perfectionism, absolute control freak, and some of those traits are you know, what makes me really great at my job, and most assistants make them really great at their job. But actually it's really hard sometimes to be able to know when to kind of pull it back and switch that side of myself off. And I had no idea like what mental health was really about. You know, you kind of see sick notes that said a bit, it's like about people suffering from stress, and I can't say that I ever really understood it. It's like, you know, oh, surely they can just kind of get on with it, you know, you just kind of cope. And And it wasn't until I kind of just stopped feeling like myself. And I think when I look back, I'd been building a lot of symptoms myself over a long period of time. And it wasn't until my director kind of said, you know, Aimee, you've really lost your sparkle, and I think you need to go to the doctor. So, you know, that really came out of the blue to me, and went to the doctors, sat in the waiting room thinking, I just feel a right prat, like, what am I doing here? What am I even going to say? But once I started to sort of have that conversation with the doctor, the floodgates opened, and it, as he went through his little tick list of all the symptoms, have you been sleeping? No, I was a complete insomniac. I had jaw ache, my back was killing, I was really emotional, I had heart palpitations. In fact, it just felt like someone was sitting like permanently on my chest. I couldn't breathe. Everything would just make me jump, like my nerves were just totally on edge all the time. Just masses and masses of symptoms that have been building up for a long time. You know, I just felt so overwhelmed all the time, complete brain fog. The smallest thing would just feel like it would tip me over the edge. And there and then I got signed off. And yeah, to be signed off for 2 weeks out of the business was like, I had never taken even a day sick in my life. And then I was at home, and for somebody that used to distract themselves with busyness and wear the busy badge of honor all the time, it was really, really difficult. And that was what I thought was bad before, kind of just having to sit there with my own thoughts and like try and manage that was really, really difficult. And yeah, I just had like hideous panic attacks. The anxiety consumed me day and night. A lot of medication, and I was drinking a lot to try and just mask how I was feeling all the time. And yeah, it was a really difficult time. I ended up having 3 months off, and I kind of found some ways to make myself better. But then actually, I think once I returned back to work, I kind of fell back into bad habits. So, and then at the beginning of last year, it kind of came out of nowhere again. And this time it was just like mega depression. Like I couldn't physically get out of bed, and used to sob uncontrollably, like so where it physically hurt with sadness, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. And it was at that point when I came out of that period, after a lot of intervention by my family and friends to get me better, that I was just like looked at my life in a totally different way and through a different lens. And so some of the habits that I'd kind of learned after I had my burnout, and I kind of did what I needed to do to get better, but I didn't keep doing them on a daily basis, and I didn't keep taking care of myself. And I think that's the difference between my first burnout and the period of depression that I had last year, is when like I am never going there again, and why I felt so passionate about sharing my message through what started as the Mindful Assistant blog, and sharing with other assistants and other business support professionals that, you know, being successful and driving yourself to those extremes is just not worth it. Like, you can be successful and you can be really great at your job, but don't do it at the detriment of your health. And how I've made sure that self-care is now formed a part of my every single day, and how important that is. So that was kind of my experience with mental health, and I'm really happy to say that I have been thriving since that point, and I definitely think I was surviving before, which I'll talk to you about in a bit more detail. So I started it on a blog called The Mindful Assistant, and I think because I was so honest, and I found it really difficult when I was ill to share that I was feeling what I thought was weak or a failure, or that I couldn't cope and that I was vulnerable. And I think so many in our positions, especially because we work in quite isolated roles, we don't want to tell anyone how we're feeling, because we feel like we have to be the one to hold it all together. So I think me being able to share my story with others really kind of said that it was okay. And you know, amazingly, like I had so many people that have reached out, and it's just been really amazing. And I'm really lucky to have the opportunity to go and speak in businesses and in events like this, and really talk about the changes that I've made that have been really positive for me, and how it may help you to make positive changes in your life as well. So I now run the Mindful Assistant Academy, so supporting assistants with their mindset and how to build a business that they love. And I also work with business owners, helping them build a business without burnout as well. So I have a couple of little little businesses that the why behind it is all about mental health. So we're going to talk about the differences between survival mode and how we can get from survival mode into thriving. So I don't know if you recognize some of these sayings, but I hear it a lot, and especially even when I have conversations through my social media platforms. It's like, it's fine, it's Aimee, it's fine if I can just get to my next holiday, or if I can just hang on to that weekend. And like, do you feel sometimes like you're just getting through, you're just existing, you're just getting through every single day without really feeling good or enjoying your life really? And there's two different mental states that an amazing guy called Tony Robbins talks about, and I just relate to this so much. Is a suffering mental state is when you just feel really stressed out and worried, frustrated, angry, depressed, irritable, really overwhelmed, resentful, fearful. And I definitely could relate to this before I was ill. I mean, I've always thought that I was like a really bubbly, positive person all the time. But then when I really reflect back now, although that was kind of on the surface, I definitely remember feeling really stressed or worried about things. And when I think about the things that I was getting stressed or worried about, there were very, very small things, like, I don't know, the amount of work that I had, or that I was just worried about certain tasks getting done. I used to get frustrated by people quite easily because they weren't maybe working at the same pace as me, and just not being compassionate, and getting really like irritable in traffic, or feeling quite overwhelmed by the amount of work that I had, or just living in that state quite a lot of the time. And just living on that edge of anxiety. And this is the state that I prefer to live in right now, which is a beautiful mental state, which is when I just feel love and joy. I feel really grateful, in awe, playfulness, ease, creativity, drive, caring, growth, curiosity, and appreciation for everything. Definitely when I came out of that period of darkness, it made me look at my life through a different lens, and I genuinely felt like everything was so grey. I even struggled to like be around my children and not see like, oh, you know, why do they even want me as a mom? Like, just everything that was ever had any feeling attached to it was stripped away at that point. So everything thereafter has just felt so amazing. And even like just on walks, you're just like, oh, you know, we just don't look around because we're so used to rushing through our lives and just not looking up and taking stock of everything around us. Like, why are we rushing around? Like, how can we stay in this state of mind all the time? And it does take work. It absolutely takes work. So how do you know that it's your time? How do you know that it's time for you to switch from survival mode into thriving? And I definitely know that when before I kind of had all these realizations or what have you, that I kind of knew that I wanted to do something else in life, or I wanted to make a change, but I didn't really know what that looked like or what it felt like. Or so sometimes you just have that nagging sense that there's something bigger that you were meant to do, or perhaps you sometimes sit the weekend and think, God, is this it? Is this what life's all about? Just moving from payday to payday, being a slave to the 9-to-5 routine. You just feel tired and fed up. And perhaps it's just like you want to let go of really unhealthy habits that no longer feel aligned with who you are. And you look at other people and think, oh, they're doing this or they're doing that, like, but that isn't possible for me. And everything is possible for you, and you can live the life that you want to live. And thriving happens when you have a life of purpose, vitality, connection, and celebration. So nothing that's tied to material possessions, which unfortunately the life that we live in right now, it's quite hard to kind of shut that out, because it's kind of shoved down our necks all the time, like through social media and on TV. It's all about how the way we look or what we've got, and actually it's just so, thriving is so much deeper than that. It really is about I feel like connection to other people that are the type of people that I want to be around, and being outdoors and connecting to Mother Nature. And I know this sounds like super cheesy, but it really is true. I've made the most amazing relationships online since I started my blog, and or finding people that I find inspiring, and connecting to people that are struggling, and helping them and making them feel positive. Like, it really is, makes me feel good and it makes them feel good. It's just really fantastic. So choosing to thrive, like making that decision and go, you know what, I'm really going to make a decision to really start living the life that I want to live. And it can feel hard, it can feel harder sometimes than simply surviving, because it's all about now changing habits and changing the way that our mind thinks, because that's what we've always done. But you can get away with that, and although it feels hard, you know, remember to treat yourself with the kindness and support and encouragement you'd offer to others, and build yourself up, cheer yourself on, and don't doubt that you're not worth it. And it is about becoming your own best friend. And I think the biggest thing that I found difficult at the start was getting rid of that self-loathing and starting to try and love myself, and go, actually, you do. I used to find it really difficult to kind of relax or give myself any time, because I felt that it was really selfish. Or if I said something nice about myself, which sounds, I just think, oh, it's like, does that just come from a place of arrogance or ego? And it doesn't, because it all starts inside us, and that is so important. So I love this quote, and my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and not just to just merely thrive, but with some passion and some compassion and some humor, which, if you know me, I'm all about humor and some style. I'm like, if you've not laughed in a day, it's a day wasted. And I just really love this quote. It really resonates with me. So, as I say about about how we can be kinder to ourselves, this really is one of my number one things that will enable you to start thriving, and that is to take care of your thoughts. So according to the National Science Foundation, average person has about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts. So if you think about, so of those 80% are negative, 95% of them are repetitive. So imagine if you are always talking to yourself in a negative way, putting yourself down, how impactful that could be to your mental health, and how it can also affect your mood and all of those, and obviously your mental health. So, and this is another quote, but it really is so important. Watch your thoughts, because they become your words, and they become your actions, they become your habit, and they become your character, and it becomes who you are. So if you talk about yourself in a positive way and just really keep reaffirming that really does start to make such a massive change. So this is like a 3-step process that you can do to really try and reframe all of your negative thoughts. And because we all have them, and it doesn't matter how much time you spend on your mindset, you are always going to have stuff that you need to work through. And that is really why it's so important to do this work every day. And of course, it's, I don't have endless lists every day, and at the start it can be quite a difficult exercise, but it just becomes more of a daily practice, just to notice your thoughts and how you can work through them. If you think of your brain like a muscle, and you're taking it to the gym every day, the more time you spend on that muscle, the more you are going to improve it and get better and get to know it and strengthen it. And you're going to see a lot of positive positive side effects from that. So you can take a notebook and a pen and list every negative thought you have, like all your fears, your insecurities, things that stress you out, things that irritate you about people. But then for every negative thought, write at least one positive thought. So if you fear failure, write one instance when failure happened to you, but actually learn a lesson. Like, how did that lesson help you grow? It's not about the failure. Nothing's ever a failure. We all kind of make mistakes, but how did you grow from that? How can you change for next time? If you're insecure about your skills, write about how much you've improved since you started. So that's just another really positive way to look at it. And how could you affirm, like make an affirmation, a positive statement about what you're feeling really insecure about, and how can you talk to yourself in a really positive way about that each day? If you've lost a relationship, how can you write about the beautiful time you spent with them apart, rather than focusing on the loss? If you stress about work, how can you write about the positive things that you do and the positive impact that you have on them? And if you don't like your colleague behaviour, write about one positive thing about that person, or actually just look at them with compassion and think, do you know what? They might have stuff going on that you don't know about, and that is causing them to react in a certain way that they are. How can you treat that person with compassion? So it's really just a really good 3-step exercise to go through. But it does take practice. And so if you've got a negative thought, just try and counteract it with a positive one. You know, nervous about giving a speech in public, think of the positive impact you will make. Crikey, I remember I was like 4 weeks after starting my Mindful Assistant blog, and I was standing in front of a room of 50 people talking about my mental health, which was very raw at that point, and it felt quite emotional to be standing there, based on the fact that like 2 months beforehand I wanted to take my own life. So that felt quite overwhelming. Gosh, I feel quite emotional. So I really threw myself off there with my own emotions. But I had to think about the positive impact it was going to have. Me sharing that and being vulnerable is going to tell somebody else that that's okay. And we always have to think when something feels uncomfortable, or if we get a negative thought about something, think about the positive, and really start to try and make this a habit in terms of how you process in your thoughts. Give yourself a 1-day challenge to balance your thoughts. And the aim of this exercise is to make this habit a part of your subconscious, and you know, really understand how you're feeling about certain things, why you're feeling things, why you're feeling a certain way about things. So a second one is like, how can you choose to fill your day with activities that use your skills, strengths and passions, which makes you feel really good? So I know that we're all, a lot of us are working like long hours and commutes, and we've got children, but I really do believe that you prioritise what you feel is important. And I get up like a lot earlier now because I want to make that time for myself, to focus on myself and just give myself that space. So a simple exercise you can do is just write down everything that you do in each day, and then write a second list of all the activities that you would really love to do. And then how can you compare the list and adjust so that the maximum time possible is spent on the activities that benefit your body, your mind, or your spiritual well-being? And I know obviously this is more difficult when you are trying to manage your day-to-day job. But in terms of like taking time out in the morning before you start your day, how could you make sure that you are nourishing yourself by making yourself a good meal? How can you take yourself out for a walk? How can you get away from your desk in the day? You could listen to a podcast that really inspires you on your way to work and your commute. Could you make a phone call with somebody that really uplifts you and makes you feel good? Could you do a random act of kindness in your day job? Or how can you do an activity and put yourself forward for something in your day job that's really going to push you out of your comfort zone, but it's something you've always really wanted to do? How can you just keep moving yourself into those positive little windows and open them up for yourself more? How can you look at your weekends and go, you know what, I don't need to spend 6 hours cleaning my house for what? Like, yes, some of that makes me feel good, a small window of it, because it kind of, yeah, it's clean and it's a bit of order. but I don't want to spend the majority of my weekends doing that. I want to nurture my relationships with my children and my best friends. I want to go out into nature. I want to go and walk up a massive hill in this most beautiful space. Or like, what does it mean for you? Making time for you that benefits your body and your mind and your spiritual well-being is just going to give you like massive benefits, and you're going to feel like you're actually living your life alongside this routine that you've got. I think people are really important. People you spend your time with are really important, and I call them mood hoovers. So, you know, you go in the office on a Monday morning and you're like, hey, did you have a good weekend? Like, oh, yeah, all right, not too bad for Monday. Or I don't know about you, but if you've got those certain friends or people that you spend time with and you walk away from those conversations or that time spent with them and you actually feel more drained than you did before. Like, they're definitely not filling you up, they're not making you feel good about yourself. I know that I've definitely had friends that are like questioning me all the time, like, oh, so when are you going on holiday? And then, what have you done around your house lately? And It's like, well, you know, or they used to like say, oh, hello, stranger, I haven't seen you for a long time. It's like, oh, well, you know, it kind of works two ways. That's from somebody that, you know, they were at home with their children all day and I was working, and we just led different lifestyles. But she definitely used to like put the guilt factor on me, and it used to make me feel really bad. Well, I don't spend my time with those people anymore. I want to surround myself with other people that want to do positive things. And, you know, although we live perhaps different lifestyles, that we don't challenge each other and make each other feel bad about our different choices. So I want to spend time with my colleagues and my friends who I find positive or who are supportive, and that they inspire me and they want me to be the best version of myself. And that really motivates me, and that keeps me moving towards what I want. And, you know, if you haven't got these people in your life right now, you know, there are so many amazing positive places online. I've made some incredible relationships. So you can find them out and have a virtual coffee, you know, follow them on Instagram, like get to know, like so many people are really open to building relationships. I'm conscious that the chat is flashing, so I'm just gonna have a quick look on here. Oh, bless you. Right, when I look back, do I recognise that there was a trigger point for my mental health? The first time there was a trigger point because there was an event that happened and I felt massively let down by the management team that I was working with. And I think that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And I was left at this event, at this place at like midnight, and I couldn't bear to let my boss stand up in front of this presentation the next day. And I just kept working, and that felt really dark. But in terms of you being able to relate to my trigger point, to understand that trigger point might be the same for you, I think it's definitely different for all people. I think the thing is not to let it get to a point where you've almost got that breaking point. And really, if you're feeling any of these symptoms right now, like really take a breath and go, okay, it's time to make a change. Because I think with burnout, like and the depression, actually, it just took you down when you least expected it. I just didn't know. I didn't see it coming, and I didn't recognise any of the symptoms. And thank you for all the virtual hugs. I appreciate you.
You've had some amazing comments come through.
I know, I'm just reading them.
Yeah, people are being so supportive and saying some lovely things about how brave you are and sharing your story and everything else. So it's some lovely messages in there.
And thank you. I think the big thing for me is I used to think I had to be so strong, and actually sharing your vulnerabilities or sharing things that you think might be flaws is actually strength. you know, because especially in the business support roles, you always think because you're the go-to, and you're the person that has to have it all together. And I felt like that, you know, I had to be the mom, the good wife, the great friend. And because out of my friends as well, I'm supposed that I'm the most career-minded. I didn't want to tell any of them that I wasn't coping. Obviously, my exec was my line manager. I didn't want to go to my, and although we had a really great relationship, I didn't want to say to my director, you know what, I'm not coping right now. I had a team. So, you know, I wanted to be their line manager. I didn't kind of want to save face and go, I can't deal with this right now. And even though I had relationships with people in my department, again, it's that I can't possibly show anyone that I feel vulnerable. Why can't I cope? There's so many women out there who are working 9 to 5s, they're juggling the kids, they're doing all the things. Why can't I cope? And that felt really so hard to me. But do you know what? Honestly, since I've opened the doors and kind of gone, this is how I felt. Everyone feels the same. I've decided that everyone is just a little bit mental and we just need to speak about it more. It's okay. You know, I still have days where, you know, I get a bit of anxiety or whatever, but I have the toolkit to know how to deal with it now. And that's the difference. Or I know that when my friends ask me if I'm okay, I go, no, do you know what? I'm just having a really crap day and I'm just feeling really teary today. So I don't put the face on it anymore. It's all about being open. It's all about sharing, because something that feels really massive for you in that moment, if you know you've thought about it, think about those 60,000 thoughts, you've probably thought about it or churned it round about 60,000 times. You tell your friend about it, they're going to go, Aimee, like, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, get some perspective. Like, that's why sharing is so important, because they help put that perspective on how you are feeling. So don't ever feel afraid to share. It's really, really important. I'm just going to read a few more messages and then go on. So yeah, absolutely. Feeling better, knowing that you're not the only one. And honestly, if you recognise any of these kind of feelings, then you totally aren't. Bless you, Carla. I feel lucky to have met you too. You're really so sweet. She came onto one of my other webinars last week. Who said, we aren't doctors, if something doesn't go right, no one will die. Absolutely. And I mentioned on another webinar last week about how even like a couple of weeks ago, I made this really small mistake, but flipping out, I absolutely beat myself up about it, because I'm totally a recovering perfectionist. And yeah, look, you have to, I always think, right now, zone out, right? Zone out. What's the impact? What's the impact of what I've done? And no one's died. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. So thank you for all those messages. So yeah, surrounding yourself with good people, and really only soaking up things that are really positive. I stay away from the media. You know, I try to stay well informed in the smallest possible way. But if there's things in your life that you are consuming that don't make you feel good, get rid of it. Social media, you know, you have the choice to follow or unfollow the people that you want to see, or if someone doesn't make you feel good. And also friendships, you know, just because you've been friends with someone for a long time, it doesn't mean if they're not making you feel good that you have to continue that relationship. And it doesn't have to be this big fallout. You can just move yourself away from that relationship. I've done that with quite a few of mine. You know, people move and grow and we all change, and that's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. What I'd love to do as well is make a vision board. So really inspire yourself, like really get on Pinterest, find inspirational quotes and ideas, and create a collage and remind yourself how you want to feel each day, perhaps where you want to get to. Do you want to have a change in your role? Is there something you feel you want to go for? Is there something you want to, a place you want to travel? How can you inspire yourself to stay in this beautiful state of mind? Like, how can you inspire yourself to stay in that beautiful state of mind every day? And I know a vision board really helps me. I choose to consume positive stuff every day, be around positive people every day, make a vision board and inspire myself every day. And I think that's really, really important. And it creates that excitement for yourself, because, you know, as much as I am so career driven, focused, ambitious, driven, I love my business, it's really important to have a lifestyle outside of those identities and those labels, the label of the assistant or the label of mum. Who am I underneath, and what do I really want from this life? Because from someone that thought that their life was going to end, like, everything now just seems so amazing, and I totally want to make the most of it, and I want you to make the most of yours too. So how can we thrive physically, mentally and emotionally every day? And remember to balance your life, so eating well, sleeping well, and making time for play, like fun stuff in your day, in and around your 9 to 5, in and around your job, and taking your time for yourself at your weekends, just really focusing on, right, I'm not surviving, I'm thriving every day. Every day is a day worth living. So what one action could you take today to move closer to thriving? And it's not selfish. Like, what time are you going to give to yourself? What thoughts? How are you going to move yourself closer to that beautiful state of mind where you feel love, joy, gratitude, and all of that absolutely good stuff? So if you want to connect, I am on Instagram or Facebook, The Mindful Assistant, on LinkedIn. But thank you again, Paul, and for anybody that has got any questions, I will stop sharing, and we'll jump on the chat.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for that, Aimee. It's lovely. It's lovely to see so many kind of positive notes coming through, and it's lovely to see people kind of like messages of support. And thank you for all of those kind of advice and tips and what have you. I'm sure people can take a lot away from that. And you know, you could see at times that it wasn't an easy story to share. So thank you for being so open and honest, and you know, sharing it with us. I think Susie said vulnerability is, you know, it's people really kind of, you know, they appreciate that. So yeah, it was lovely, and a lovely message as well. So as Aimee says, if anyone's got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat box. And as I always say, if anyone wants to come off mute and say hello, please feel free also. So just let us know once again where people can get in contact with you.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I am Aimee Brown. I spell my name A-I-M-E-E, Brown with an E. I feel like I sing that to people most of the time. And I'm on Facebook. I'm the Mindful Assistant. LinkedIn, obviously you can get me on Aimee Brown, but I've got a group as well on LinkedIn. So I try and share you know, like posts or articles that I find, or you'll see any of the webinars and stuff that I'm doing. I think I've got a big webinar in a couple of weeks' time. So, you know, I just try and share positive stuff all the time to keep you thriving. I can't find you on Instagram. Hang on, I'll pop it in. What I'll do, I'll just post the link in. I'll post the link in the group. She says, why can't I? Yeah, hang on.
And also, Aimee, anything that you've got coming up, please feel free to put it in the group as well, in the Business Support Network. Anything that you've got.
Oh, thank you.
Don't ever feel. I am very keen for as many people to kind of, you know, be chatting on there as well, and not just the stuff that we're doing. It's all about creating a community. So please feel free to kind of put anything on there if you want, with stuff that you've got coming up. It's no problem at all.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, there's I think definitely, like after the webinar last time that I've recently just done about taking the positives from the whole COVID situation, I had so many messages about like people wanting to work with me and stuff like that, and I know that you know, people haven't got loads of money to chuck around, and so I am looking and creating like a really low price membership to support people with lots of mindset stuff and how that relates to the assistant role. So I'd love to share that when that's ready, but that will be coming in the next month or so, because I just feel really passionate about supporting assistants with this type of stuff, and I just I just know how it feels to obviously be in that role and have that pressure of having to feel like you feel a certain way, and I'd love to support people in any way that I can. So thank you for that. I'll definitely share when that's ready to go. But thanks so much for your lovely comments, everyone. I really, really appreciate it, all of your support. But just keep doing positive things, make a change. Like, it's all in the action, like every day, even if it's just like the smallest, tiniest little positive action that you can take every day, and like let it grow and build on it, and just feel into what feels right for you. What might work for me might not work for you, but a little part of it might, and then you can just feel into that little bit a bit more. So just do what feels right for you, and just try and consume and inspire yourself, and do positive things. So thank you, Paul. I really appreciate your time.
No worries.
And everybody else. So thanks for setting this up. Really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure, and it's been great to have you on. Thank you for giving up your time. I know that you're very busy, and so yeah, it's been a great message. And thank you to everybody who has joined us. Thank you so much for following us. If you're not already a part of it, come and join our group, the Business Support Network. We're on LinkedIn, and we're now on Facebook. And if you like what we're doing, please share it with as many people as possible, because we're on a bit of a mission to help as many people as we can. So get involved, get your friends and family to get involved as well. Everybody's welcome. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day. If we don't see you for our next webinar at 1 o'clock, we'll speak to you soon.
Have a great day.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.